know when somebody comes on. Remember last time you had to pull out the phone and see if we comments too? Got 5 people on it.
Okay. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the July District 1 breakfast. As you can see, we are still all virtual with the rise in cases of COVID-19. I didn't feel it was responsible to invite folks to our breakfast just yet. So we've got 2 really good topics today. Then I've got some updates, and always love to do a Q&A since we are here. We'll get started with Public Works. Sean is here to talk about the Emporia Street two-way conversion you all may have been paying attention to as a part of our streets plan. So I will get out of the way and let Sean take it from here. Thanks, Sean.
You can say it or say it.
It's just the whole thing. Okay.
Yeah.
My name is Sean Bettis, I'm the Chief Design Engineer for the City of Wichita.
You can say hi and then go back.
Hi. Project I'm here to talk about today is Emporia Street from Central to Dewey. We are looking at converting, obviously, if you know the area now, we are looking at converting it into two-way right now, it's one-way northbound. So May 12, 2020, the City Council approved some funding, so we can start looking at the design of this. June 25th, the city staff held a virtual open house to talk about the project. Then on June 6th, District Advisory Board, which is 6, approved our design concept 6-0. So I'll go through some slides here showing what the existing configuration looks like. Currently, like I said, Emporia is a one-way street heading northbound. The cross sections of Emporia vary between parallel parking, angle parking, and then the number of lane configurations headed northbound vary throughout the corridor. So I'll go through some pictures and kind of show you a breakdown of what that looks like through each block. So starting at the south end, I don't know if you can see this, but you can see Kellogg there in the back. So this is just north of Lewis looking south. Dewey comes in back in right north of Kellogg there. Both Dewey and Lewis are stop control. They will be stop controlled when we done with the project. So we're not installing signals at these locations. They're going to stop control. That's based on the traffic volumes going through there. The next picture will be the same location, so just north of Lewis, looking north.
I'm sorry.
The signal you see there is the signal of Waterman. So going to one-way, or going two-way, we actually end up having to add a signal here in the southwest corner of Emporia and Waterman. So I'll run through the design concept later, but I want to at least mention that when you see this here. So where you see the building, right next to the building, there has the traffic signal or southbound traffic. This right here is William, just north of William, looking south. So the signal head that you can see in the background there is actually a head crossing that serves the transit center. We are proposing to get rid of that. And part of the reason we're doing that is if you see the signals in the foreground here, what you see is that's the signal of William. So they're only about 200 feet apart. You don't see a large number of people using them. We went and talked to Interest Bank Arena. We went and talked to both the sheriff and police that handle traffic during events down there. They didn't see any issues with it, so we are proposing to take that signal out. Part of the reason is we're doing that too is to save some money because we have to add another signal for southbound traffic. Next picture will be the same location, just looking north. So this is Douglas here. You can see the new building. TBC is building there. One thing I'll mention here right now, this section is 2 lanes and angled parking. Most of the rest of it has, you saw south there, was just parallel parking. This section, all the way to First Street, actually has angled parking in it too. So again, the southwest corner of Douglas, we have to add another signal pole for southbound traffic. So this is just north of First Street, looking south. Again, we'll have to add a signal pole southwest corner. You can't see it real well, but that section south there, again, is angle parking, and it stops at the intersection there, First Street, and you have a parallel going north. This is the same location, so just north of First, but this is looking north. Again, you can see some of the vehicles that are actually parked there. This section is, there are 3 different travel lanes in this section, and I'll point this out, go through the design again. But this section here, we're going to extend what's south of here. We have 1 lane. In this case, after we're done, with 1 lane each direction. Right now, it would be 2 lanes northbound. We're going to go down to 2 lanes of traffic and actually add angle parking in here between First and Second. We will add some parking stalls by doing that, but also we are just eating up some of the space just because we don't need that additional lane. This lane actually goes up to Second and stops there now. It makes you make a right on Second currently because it's one-way traffic. This is just north of 3rd Street looking south. 3rd Street, I'll point this out now, I'll go through when we talk about the design too. Based on traffic volumes, these signals are not warranted. So our intent is to take out the signals at 3rd and Emporia and 3rd and Topeka. What we would do prior to the project, and we could do it at any point here moving forward, but we would put these into flash to see if there's any issues that come up, if anybody has any problems. So what you would have, the lights on 3rd Street would actually be flashing red, on Emporia and Topeka in this location would be flashing yellow, to see how well this works. But our intent would be to take these 2 out. So one of the reasons we're doing that is we're looking at reusing these signals for the ones we need south of here, on the southwest corners of the intersections are already signalized. The next slide is the same location, just looking north. I'll point out this piece here is 2 travel lanes and parallel parking on each side, and that's what it will go back to. We do take away on-street parking when we get close to Central, and the reason we're doing that is to add a turn lane there at Central. So we can go on the next slide. So our proposed design is to convert this to two-way, Emporia is two-way. Based on the funding we have, what we're looking at doing is mainly pavement markings, adding signals, and signage that we need to go to. We're not completely reconstructing the street. It is pavement markings, it is signals, and it is signage. For the most part, like I talked about throughout, the parking is going to remain the same with the section between first and second, where we're going from parallel to angle. We will actually get some stalls, so the parking will increase with that fundamental. And I'll run through the actual design concept and I'll point out some of the things I did earlier too. So this is starting at the south end. So this is Kellogg over on the left-hand side. Again, stop control for both Lewis and Dewey, same as they are now. We are putting some delineators just on the south side of Dewey, and so we're not just going to add signage because that's where the one south of there will still be one way. So we want to put some delineators, something vertical, so people can see when they're driving around. It tells them that they need to either turn and go down Dewey, or they can turn and go into this is a parking lot for the arena. So the next piece, we'll get to water.
Got a note saying hard to see.
But you can see an on-street parking here that we get through this section. It's there now. I know you can't really tell, but there's nothing that says you can't park there, so it is there now. But that section, we will put that on-street parking, make sure it's easy to see through this section between Kellogg and Waterman. At Waterman, we do end up with the turn lane, so we do end up with no parking right there at the intersection. So again, Waterman over here on the left-hand side, southwest corner, that's the signal we have to add. English is currently one-way eastbound. It'll stay that way. We'll have to actually convert it. Right now, it's a dual left, so both lanes go into Emporia and go northbound. It'll be a right and left when we get done. When we stop control, that's what it is now. Having the discussion we had with the arena, one of the things they didn't want is on-street parking in front of the actual arena itself. A couple different reasons, but one of the big ones was security. Right now, there's a small area you can park for like 15 minutes, so if somebody's out there parking doing something they shouldn't, it's pretty easy to see it right now. Over in this area right here is the signal, the pedestrian signal that we were proposing to take out. Again, the reason we're taking out is with proximity to William. William, we will be adding a signal pole at the southwest corner for southbound traffic, but we are taking out this pedestrian pole that goes in here. It's about 200 feet south. That serves, I guess, it was put in to serve the transit center. The discussions we've had, it doesn't seem to get a lot of use. People just go to William to use that. When large events come into the arena, typically what they are doing is this is more or less closed down, and they are Center County Sheriff and Wichita Police Department are directing traffic through this. What traffic they do allow to go through. So William on south end again, Douglas, we have to add a hole at the southwest corner of Douglas. Again, you can see this section is where the main parking starts, just north of William, and it goes up to First Street currently. First Street, we have to have a signal pole there, southwest corner. The bike lanes you can see there on First Street, go back in, we don't change anything with those. We really don't change anything as far as lane configurations. If we go to the next slide, we add angle parking. So on the left, we're just south of where the screen is at, you can see First Street. So between First and Second, we're adding angle parking because we just need one lane in each direction. There's currently 3 lanes parallel. We're just using that to eat up some of the space we have out there as far as the pavement goes. Second Street, we're adding a signal on southwest corner. Then north of Second, we go back to parallel, which is what it is now. So you have one lane in each direction going up to Third Street is where we actually remove signals. So again, this is Third and Emporia here shown on the left. We are looking at going to stop control at that intersection. Again, we'll test it out. I won't put it in the flash, but that is our intent to reuse those signal poles on some of the locations we just saw to the south, where we need signal poles in the southwest corner for southbound traffic. Up at Central, we do get rid of the on-street parking, about 200 foot there, to add the 3 lanes to get the turn lanes in there, to help accommodate traffic. The rest of it you have parallel parking like this now. So the current capital improvement program, or CIP, has 400,000 to do this based upon that number, based upon lead times and other things. That's part of the reason we're looking at reusing some of the existing signals to be able to accommodate the conversion. The signal pieces are the biggest. They take anywhere from 6 to 10 months to actually get them here anymore. So if we do reuse them, not only are we saving money, but we can also save some time and get this done sooner. And the next slide, I think, is the upcoming dates. Yeah, so we are going by pet board on Monday, and going to transit board on Wednesday, and then city council on August 4th to go through these design concepts for that. We're not adding any bike facilities, but because we're taking out, in particular, the pet signal, we want to take the bike pet board to make sure they're okay with what we're proposing. And then transit, the pet signal serves the transit center, and it's adjacent to their facility, so we want to take there and make sure that they're okay with what we're looking at. And with that, open up any questions.
I think the question, you might want to go there.
So does anybody out there have any questions for Sean or about the two-way conversion? Give you a few seconds or minutes to think of something.
Not fair.
Give you a few more seconds.
It says, I thought the city wasn't starting any new contracts.
So,
There was a comment from a citizen saying, I thought the city wasn't starting any new contracts.
This project is a fairly small project, and not only that, the vast majority of the funds we are using are actually from the sale of property, in particular, some of it around this area. The TGC building there you saw was going in, the sale of some of the property near that is actually funding this project. So there's not a whole lot of GO funding that is going into this project. This is from sale of property down in this area that the city owns.
I guess to piggyback onto that for anyone who was paying attention to the council meeting, we approved the demolition of Meads Corner that was discussed. And part of those dollars were going into this specific effort was talked about during that council meeting. I believe that was last year. Any other questions out there?
Hold on, let's see. Is the first 2 blocks by the arena only going to be painting?
Is it only going to be painting?
Maybe, or parking? It says, it's the first 2 blocks by the arena only going to be painted.
The first 2 blocks south of the arena, there is on-street parking that is there now, in the sense of it doesn't say you can't park there. So it is there now, so we're going to make it more identifiable. There is not parking in front of the arena, there is not parking there now, so we're not taking anything away. And again, part of that came down to some security issues that the arena had. They had some concerns about that. And that was not only the arena, that was Sedgwick County Sheriff's Office, Wichita Police Department, who do traffic control in that area.
So, we got a, technical difficulty feedback. We're going to move this camera forward before your next presentation. So, apologize if anybody hears some sounds. We're gonna, we actually can pause. I don't want to pause. You can just keep talking while we move.
All right, I don't see any other questions. There's also like a 25-second delay on some of these. So I just saw myself on the.
I think the best way to get them to see the screen is for us to move this table forward, and then they can see the PowerPoint better, is what I learned. So those 4 chairs would have to come out. Hold on.
You got it, close it.
So look. Since we're delayed. Thanks, Ginger. I gotta wait for the delay,
Looking back at time.
right? It says north of Waterman by the arena is what he said. Lonnie said north of Waterman by the arena.
Yeah, and the answer is on that.
Hold on, let's see. We can respond back to him.
There's not parking there now. We're not putting parking there.
Okay, we are back up, and it is closer.
Yep.
His delay is funny. I know what it's
All right,
Make a break for it.
all right, I don't see any other questions for Sean. So let's go going once. And going twice. All right, well, thank you, Sean. I don't see any other questions. And we again apologize, COVID, technology, and figuring all this stuff out. There are adjustments being made. Next up, we have Ms. Gentry, who is going to talk to us about McAdams Weekend Outreach. And I also want to thank Gentry for those who don't know, most people probably know, she helped put together the presentation for Mr. McAfee. And that was a great moment at our council meeting. So I want to thank Gentry publicly for helping put that together and reaching out and getting all the information about Mr. McAfee. So thank you for that. I will turn this over to you.
Hold on, just let me get the, make sure we have it all up and going. Okay, yeah, it says McAdams Outreach. Okay, you can come in.
Anything over here?
So the camera is literally right here. You can say hello, introduce yourself, kind of like
Hi,
there,
everybody.
that area.
I'm Gentry Teeson. I'm from Park and Recreation. I'm the Senior Management Analyst. It's great to be here. This is my first District 1 breakfast and hopefully not the last. I'm going to be talking to you today about a potential program at McAdams that was created by Corey. Corey's not on screen, but he's waving and saying hi. Okay. So in partnership with the Wichita Community Foundation, the Evergy Community Response Fund is going to be awarding $10,000 to organizations that are closing gaps in service that are caused by COVID-19 and or promoting solutions to address racial injustice. One of the zip codes that they are serving in this grant is 67214, which is this one. And so we've seen this as a really great opportunity to try and expand some and create some programming in the McAdams community. The score criteria for this grant, which is one of the reasons why we're talking to you today, is about reach within the community, high level of community support, which we're hoping to have, an appeal to an array of citizens and an increased level of interaction between them, and then leveraging existing resources.
Okay.
All right, keep going. So the proposed program that we have for you today is a free year-round camp on Saturday at McAdams Recreation Center here from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. For youth. The first hour of the program is going to focus on introductions between the campers, providing a snack and some homework assistance. And then the rest of the program are enrichment activities that will be coordinated by the director. And this includes resume building and mock interviews, identifying personal strengths and other skill building activities, mentoring from college students and other adults, career day experiences and tours, college information and visits, health and nutrition, and sports. So our target population for this program is students in this community that are between the ages of 11 and 15, and they exhibit the desire to learn new activities and skills, make friends, social interaction, and then receive some mentoring opportunities as well. So we will be partnering with Wichita University's Newman Friends, Wichita State University, to get student volunteers that'll come and speak to the students about higher education and just serve as mentors to them and participate in activities with them. So it's a really great opportunity for college students as well as the participants in the program. And we're hoping to incorporate firefighters, police, to establish relationships with the community that will, foster that relationship, start that dialogue at an early age. And so this grant, we're hoping will serve as the seed money, and we'll be able to continue it long-term with sponsorships that we'll seek out. Okay. So the benefits of a program like this, especially in this community, are to fill the potential gap of altered school service during COVID-19. So if students are only going to be back at school part-time or they're all virtual, a program like this could really benefit those social interactions and also fill that tutoring homework assistance gap as well. And so this will provide academic support to students, create resources for mentoring and continued mentoring opportunities, support the development of academic and social success, and then share experiences from career-bound individuals. And so this will be a really new and great program by opening up McAdams to these kind of activities on the weekend. Okay? And so what we're asking today is to receive support from the community on this, and that can be in the comment box, or go ahead and send me an email at gthiesen@wichita.gov, or give me a call. And I might be in the office, I might not, but go ahead and leave me a voicemail. And so you can offer your testimony of support for a program like this and let us know what you think. And then if we do get this grant and this program does go through, then we'd like you to consider serving as a volunteer in a program. So you could be tutoring in specific subjects, speaking to a group about your career or hobby, and then assisting camp leaders in activities. So that's all I got. I'll take any questions if you have.
So, systems of delay. Reggie said, great job.
Thanks, Reggie.
Essentially, rock it.
You said that.
Shallow. Couple months.
Thanks, Shanna.
Love that,
You can circle back now to the silence. Remember. Yeah, Jenny, we'll circle back for your announcements down at the bottom.
Thank you, Ben.
Thanks.
Yeah, you might want to sit since I have it to where, yeah. So, no, later, Gary, cut this off. Because there's nothing else to show. Yeah. Just here, just for you to say.
All right, so just a few announcements to go through. Corey is helping me out with the specifics, but just want to highlight for everyone here this summer, our Park and Rec Department is opening our rec centers in District 1. So that's McAdams, where we are today, Lynette Woodard, Linwood, and Edgemore on Friday evenings for free activities for our young people. With that, the first 50 young people can get food for free. So definitely, if there are some hungry young folks coming out, definitely want to have them in a safe space where they can have fun and get some food. We have had lower numbers this year, of course, probably because of COVID, and that definitely makes sense. But if there are things you want your young person to do, our rec centers are open on Friday evenings. Each one has 2 hours available. So Edgemore's hours on Friday evenings is 6:30 to 8:30. Linwood is 6:30 to 8:30. Lynette Woodard is 5:15 to 7:15, and McAdams is 7:30 to 9:30. So if you want to bring your young folks out, ages 6 to 18, you can bring them here. A variety of activities to do. We've even got some local folks coming in and trying to partner and teach our young people things. Last year we had the Bray family come in and do some drone work and camera work and talk about entrepreneurship, because they are entrepreneurs, well-known entrepreneurs here in Wichita. And we've got some other folks that have offered to come as well. So again, Friday nights, free activities for our young people. Also want to encourage you all to take the census. There are 4 areas of town that have really low counts. 3 of those are in District 1, 1 is in District 3. The lowest counts are in District 1. So if you live in 67214 or 219 or parts of 208, again, make sure you've taken the census, make sure your neighbors take the census, your friends, wherever they might be. It's important to make sure everyone gets counted, because we get resources back to our city when folks are counted. For every individual who doesn't take it, the city of Wichita loses about $52,000 a year. So it makes sense to take a 5-minute census survey so that we can get the resources we need. So all the programs we talk about, whether it's summer youth employment, upgrading our parks facilities, transit, things like that, it all comes from the census count. And if we need to redistrict, we need to know how many people are in the city of Wichita so we can make sure our boundaries are fair for everyone. So again, make sure you take the census. You can do that right now by going to 2020census.gov, or you can call 1-844-330-2020. Again, that's 1-844-330-2020. And you can also reach out, this is pretty cool, come up to Atwater, get you one of these. Put this in your yard. This reminds everybody around you who drives by that you can get it. Go ahead and take the census. It has the phone number, and count me in ICT. This is a great service. Hopefully we can get these in high population areas, apartment complexes, things like that. But even if you see no one on your block with it, make sure you get a sign too to encourage other people to take that. You'll probably start seeing those in low count areas, again, just to make sure we do it. There's nothing to fear with the census. Early on, there were questions about if it would have a citizenship question. It doesn't. Again, it's just counting the folks in your household. This is probably the shortest census that I know I've seen. I've only been part of one, but the first one had a lot of questions. This one doesn't. It literally takes about 5 minutes. And I've always joked, if you've got 3 kids, it might take 6 minutes because you got to get specific. But those are 2 big things that I really want you all to know about. Friday Night Rec, again, that's free for our young people. And then taking the census, it's important for our city and our future to do so.
We have a pop-up announcement. There's summer camp spaces available for our daytime camps.
There are summer camp spaces available.
And scholarships.
And scholarships available. So again, if you have young people and you want to put them in a summer camp, we do take a lot of safety precautions in our summer camp. So, we social distance, masks are required in all of our city facilities, and they do teach the young people that. So it's a safe space if you want to get your young person, ages 6 to 12, in one of those programs. Again, reach out, happy to get you connected. There is free Wi-Fi available 2 weeks at a time through the Hotspot program sponsored by AARP of Kansas. Call any of our resource centers, that would be Atwater, Colvin, or Evergreen, to sign up for that. Again, you'll get a hotspot, you can take it home, you can use it. We've had some really cool success stories where people taking it home, applying for jobs and actually getting employment. And then after 2 weeks, it cuts off. So again, it makes sense just to bring it back. You can sign up again if you want it after we go through the other folks who've signed up. So that's a great program. Glad to see it continue. And if you need access to internet, this is one of the ways you can get it. And then Atwater is open from 9 to noon and 1 to 5 with a limited number of residents at a time. Again, with COVID-19 practices, social distancing, there will be a limited number of residents allowed in. But that's been going on for some time. You can still get the services you need, whether it's notary or fax and copy, we make that work. So again, Atwater is open from 9 to noon and 1 to 5 with a limited number of residents at a time. We've got a guest that wants to join us today. Aaron's here. That's it for the written announcements. If you probably should know by now, the city council passed a mask ordinance last Friday. We did that at a special council meeting, and I think that was 4 hours. I didn't think it would take that long, but 4 hours we came out with a mask ordinance. It's in effect until August 11th, at which time we will review the effectiveness of it. Here's what we'll review the effectiveness of it and decide whether or not we want to end or extend. We'll be looking at the case count to see if cases are continuing to rise. Part of the mask mandate was to help with the spread. I think everyone knows it won't stop anything, but it does greatly reduce transmission, and that was the point, to help reduce the transmission. So I've seen a lot more folks wearing masks than we saw before, which is a good sign. So hopefully we can see cases go down, and we don't see, hopefully, any more deaths. But that's one step that we took, and we will review that on August 11th. Pay attention to that council meeting too. We'll probably get some more professionals to talk about where we are at that time. Tuesday, again, I mentioned it when Gentry spoke, but we did rename the McAdams Pool to the Charles McAfee Pool. Right now it's under revitalization. So when it opens next year, it will be the Charles McAfee Pool. It's a great celebration. Looking forward to the revitalization, and many of those who fought to help save it and get the new investment in it have been driving by, looking at the tractors out there, starting the reconstruction. So that's really been a really good feeling and a good thing going on here in this community. Aside from that, I don't have many more big updates. The city council received a petition from the group seeking to save Century 2. I believe that happened Friday as well. They will be going through a process of validating signatures and seeing what that looks like. So wanted to highlight that. I will pause there and see if there are any questions. I know we are on a delay, so there will be a little bit of silence while we wait for questions.
I haven't seen anything in 10 minutes. Let's see.
Jane, you can come by Atwater and pick up a sign. Also, while we are waiting on questions, we can also jump into a Q&A if you want. Talk about anything going on, any questions you may have. Love to hear more about what you all thought about our response from the Wichita Police Department to the various demands from organizers, activists, and organizations regarding improving our police department. I was happy to see us respond, not just with statements, but with actions. We actually changed policy when we responded. Some of the things we were already doing in practice, we just hadn't codified in policy, and that is now done. So definitely seeking to hear any other improvements we can make or any other dialogue. So what would have been the question? Okay.
What's the open day for the Edgemore Pool?
The Edgemore Pool is being filled in at this moment. The splash pad will be open in May of 2021. The first two phases of the aquatics plan are being worked on right now. That was part of the reason pools stayed closed this year, so we can accelerate progress on that. So phase 1 and 2 should be done by May of 2021. And then phase 3, I think we're still working through right now. Phase 3, I believe, is 2 splash pads in new areas, which takes a little more work. So the easier work is happening in phase 1 and 2.
It says, are you voting to spend $250,000 on Century 2 on Tuesday?
Am I voting to spend the $250,000? I just got through some of my packet. I haven't read through that full agenda item. I think repairs are on there, but until I read through it and have a conversation with the city manager, I don't really have a response just yet. So what I typically do is read through my packet when I get it, either on Fridays or the weekend. I have been bogged down by trying to catch up on emails from the protests and then from the mask mandate. So at one point I had nearly 1,900 emails to go through. I'm down to 873 right now. So I will spend the rest of my weekend reading my packet for Tuesday and then try to catch up on Monday with emails again, but I've not read through it just yet. Sounds like a routine item though. Can't wait to have these in person again.
Right? Let's see. 10:20, got an hour meeting, that's good.
Any other questions or comments, thoughts, issues you want to address?
Here we go. If any nonprofit groups in the community need reusable cloths for use by their staff and volunteers, contact Shauna at wichitahabitat.org.
Thank you, Shauna.
Shauna and Ann.
Thank you, Ann, as always. All right, well, if there is nothing else, there is an announcement coming up on Tuesday. The Dunbar Theater will be receiving a nice donation from Walmart. So pay attention to that on Tuesday. Looking forward to that happening and that project moving along. Aside from that, we appreciate your engagement. Please continue to engage with us. If you have questions for the council, reach out. If you would like to have a Zoom call meeting or invite us to a neighborhood meeting, we can do that as well. So definitely want to continue to engage with our constituents. So reach out, let us know. And we are having some smaller meetings at City Hall, one-on-ones, things like that. So again, we want to continue to engage with our constituents and reach out if you have any questions. If you shoot me an email, I am apologizing now. It might be a week or so because I'm still catching up, but I will get to you and respond. And seeing no other questions, I hope you all have a wonderful Saturday. There is one question.
Do you have an opinion about the effort to defer the historic register nominations for Century 2 and the library?
I did see that there was a letter submitted. Definitely understand why it was submitted. I mean, we're looking at potential development of the riverfront, and making decisions like that would hamper possibilities. We don't know ultimately if we're going to make huge changes or not. A plan will be submitted at some point. Most of you follow the Riverfront Legacy Master Plan. But again, it's a plan, a vision, a guiding document. I will say, not everybody was in agreement with it. So we may come up with a different plan, but if we begin to try to lock ourselves into just keeping things as they are, we've seen, the city wants something to happen down there. So if we lock ourselves into keeping it as it is, then ultimately we probably won't do anything down there, which again, as we look at talent retention, improvements in our city, we'll have an amazing West Bank with new development. We've got a great new stadium that we haven't been able to open yet. And then East Bank will just be as it is now. There's really a lack of green space and a lack of activity. Century 2 isn't being programmed in the best way, and a lot of that's limitations just due to its infrastructure. The old library is a great facility, right now sitting empty. So I think that if we begin to try to lock it in, there could be an issue there. But we'll see what the boards say. Ultimately, I think I have a good sense of what they're going to say. And again, if citizens want to keep it that way, citizens will keep it that way. But I know that there's been a large push to make a real improvement down there, and we'll see what happens. Since that's a 20-second delay, I'll wait for another 2 minutes.
One more plug for,
Yeah.
because we got a couple new viewers.
2-minute commercial break?
Yeah.
So make sure you get your census sign. Come over to Atwater. These are all the resources.
Yeah.
You can come to Atwater, Evergreen, or Colvin, get you one of these. Again, if you go to the census website, you can see where low count areas are. So if you're curious about your area, you can go and see. Low count as in below 50%. There are 3 areas. The last time I checked, 3 of those, or 4 areas. 3 are in District 1, 1 is in District 3. But no matter what, make sure you take the census. Make sure your friends and neighbors are taking the census. Let them know there's no risk to it. There's no citizenship question. It's really just data about you, the folks in your household, how many people are in your household. And again, all of that goes into a number of things. So if we look at redistricting, every council district should have about 55, I believe, to 65 or so thousand people. But that's a 10,000 person gap. And we can make it closer and more accurate if we have an accurate count. If we're looking at resources, we've said for a long time, I said it during my campaign, I've said it while I was in office, that, we can continue to improve transit. We've got a great transit director working to do so. And if we get counted correctly, we get more dollars to be able to improve transit in the way that we want. So second shift, more routes, more accessibility. So we got to make sure folks get counted. Summer job programs, one of the things that really got me interested in local government was cuts to summer job funding. When I was 19, that was a program I ran. I was irritated by it. Come to find out, census dollars help fund that program. So we got to make sure we get counted so we can provide youth jobs. All our other resources going into women's shelters, social services, all of that comes from census, or parts of it come from the census. So again, you can get one of these for free at a resource center, put it in your yard, put it in the area that you know is low count. Remember our sign ordinance, so don't put it close to the street. Everything between the sidewalk and the street is the right of way. Don't put it in the right of way, put it on the other side of the sidewalk, because that is against ordinance. These are really nice. We don't want to pick these up and throw them away. Put it on the side where it can stay.
Shout out to someone who just completed the census because you advertised it.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you for doing that. Make sure you get your friends and family to do the same. Again, just getting it done means so much. You have an accurate count. knowing our population size. So it's a big deal. So thank you for doing that. And I would propose when we get back in person that Lonnie, since he goes to every meeting in the city of Wichita, take care of our breakfast.
Our faithful member Janice Rich is on here, and Van L. Johnson.
Yeah,
Jane Burns. Conference supporters. You can sign off if you want.
you want to say bye to everybody?
Here we go.
All right, say bye-bye. Say bye-bye. She just wants to go bye-bye. Well, hope you all have a great weekend. Thanks for tuning in. If you have any questions about anything, please don't hesitate to reach out. I always love to talk to folks. And hopefully soon, we can get out and be safe and at least socially distance and have a meeting. But anyway, have a good weekend, and I will see you next month.